where, as you may recall, last time, or you were kind of like trying to tie up some loose ends. You had found the blueprint of the upper levels of um, the Gauntlight Keep and the structures below, and you realize that there's a couple of corners that you missed, like a couple of secret doors or a couple of rooms that you never actually went around exploring, and you have started to tie up those loose ends, starting with the spectral overseer that was going through the motions of overseeing a bunch of scribes in the scriptorium. And maybe you've now at this point been able to piece together what where fate was, but either way, you found a couple of helpful things in her possession or in the secret scriptorium that she was guarding in a way. And I think I checked your sheets and I didn't see the two bulk of valuable books that I mentioned. Um, so I saw that there's one bulk on the party sheet, I think is where I saw that. Yeah, there's one bulk of valuable books, but I think that's older, and you should have found two more in this room. So if one of you wants to put that on their inventory, you're welcome to do that. And other than that, I think you've already, I think the rest of you spread out. Yeah.
Ottardo is about to be encumbered,
Mm-hmm.
so if somebody else can pick those up.
Does anyone have room to spare?
I'm already encumbered.
So how do I pick those things up?
You can go to the dash, and at least I think you do, and you should be able to pull out the entry valuable books.
Where's the valuable books
Where's
entry?
the dash?
Do you know where the stash is? Or you can see the party, right? That's not a
Yeah,
GM
yeah.
thing. Yeah. There should be a tab called stash, and then under treasure, there's an entry called valuable books. So if you drag and drop that onto your sheet, then
No,
you should be
like
able
in
to.
the party, I just see the party.
You don't see
Oh,
stash?
yeah. Sorry. When I open the thing, I see stash. Yep.
Yes, okay.
So what am I taking?
Under treasure, there's an entry called valuable books, and if you just move that over to your sheet,
Autumn.
and then add two more bulk of books.
What am I carrying around?
How do I add that?
Yeah, there, it says quantity 1, and you can just add another 2. See those plus minus, or can you not? Is that just for me?
Yeah, I see them.
Okay.
Valuable books, 2. There we go. Yes,
Another,
Birke would definitely be interested in some books.
of course. So where is the? Just making sure this is going. Yeah, this is you actually have 3 items because there was already one. I don't know why that was on the stash. That should have been handed out to someone. And I mean, generally, I assume that whatever is in the stash is not on the party when you're exploring, right? Okay, good. Just so we're clear on that. Okay. So I think we have that all figured out now. And can get back to the scene. All right. What do you want to do?
Oh yes, I actually had something written down. Where was it? Yes. So you mentioned something about a skeleton in chainmail.
I mentioned something about it. When? Where? Context?
That was last time. I think
In this room?
in the room Ottardo is in now. The main one, not the little side room.
There are skeletal remains here. Let me read the description again. Yes, a skeleton dressed in shiny looking chain shirt lies slumped on the floor. And I
Uh,
suspect they're curious about that chain shirt.
I'm actually curious if we can figure out if that would be the ghost's body.
Wait, ghosts have no body.
Because it sounds
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of weird for a librarian to be wearing chainmail.
Yeah, but I mean, given the workplace environment, maybe it's not that unusual if you consider that. But sure. So, do you have any skill that you think might be suitable to identify, like based on the bone structure and stuff? If that could,
I guess medicine.
medicine could work, yeah.
Medicine or society. I don't know.
Yeah. Either would be okay.
Okay. Well, do I roll this?
All right. Yeah, no, this definitely looks like it was. I mean, she appeared as a somewhat elven-looking person, and the skeleton kind of matches that, you would say. So you're fairly confident that those are indeed the ghost's remains. And yes, the changer is in good condition. I guess they just kind of forgot to put that onto the sheet, or did anyone take that off her body?
I do not remember if I. We do have a chainmail in the stash.
Would be a chain shirt.
Oh, chain shirt. Well, if it's not pinging as magical, I assume
It is.
it is pinging as magical. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in
It's a
that case,
plus
we
one.
probably
It's a plus one chain shirt, and I just put it into her her loot sheet, so you should be able to pull it out. And there's also, remember, there's a crafter's eyepiece and a key that is left on her body that nobody apparently took off her remains. I would.
Could you use a +1 chain shirt? Because I certainly cannot.
It's too clinky. It's too. It itches and chafes. I don't like it.
Is that light armor or medium?
that is light.
But it is probably noisy.
It is
It is.
indeed.
Flexible and noisy. I don't know. Perhaps Augrael could have some use for it, or at least the +1 nature of it could be transferred to something more valuable.
Well, Ottardo will stuff it into the big bag of stuff.
The
We drag
big
along.
bag of stuff.
Yes.
Aren't you now extra encumbered?
Well, he's not carrying it on his person.
Okay.
Like he's put it in the stash, basically.
Right.
Yeah, but like I said, like the stash is something that you leave behind in town, so
That's
you
above
can't.
ground.
Yeah.
One of us
I'll-
has to take it.
I can take it. I can take it back to.
Oh. By the way, Souma, do you need another set of healer's tools? Because I'm carrying one around for some reason and it's weighing me down.
What about this crafter's ice piece? Has anybody seen anything like this?
I have one of those. Helps
Well,
me make my repairs faster.
There's one still here.
I guess I can grab it and then we pawn it off for something else
We'll
next
pawn
time
it
we're
off.
back in town.
Good
I mean, we
idea.
could do some with some coin. It's not like we're getting generously paid for our efforts here. And we spent so much on health potions.
I'm sorry, Souma, were you saying you wanted the healer's tools? Okay. Here you are. And in the middle of the dungeon, just do the shuffle, the item shuffle. What did I Oh no, how do I give this to you? I guess I'll put it in the stash. And then you can carry it dutifully.
Okay, as you go through her belongings, and anyone who's doing that is welcome to give me that perception check here.
There we go. Okay, I put it in the stash. Let's see, perception.
Okay, so you all right, so this got kind of lost in the rush out the door last time because I was kind of in a hurry. So basically this isn't really giving you anything new, and we're just gonna have to retrofit that. So you find a tiny iron key on her body, on the remains. And that key is actually what opens the cabinet next door where those two bulk of valuable books were stored. So you can take that key into your inventory, but it's basically already been used, just so you know.
The librarian's key was already on her body, so I assumed we had...
That's another key.
Oh, it's a different key. Okay.
I think so. Because this one is called Tiny Iron Key.
Interesting.
I have to double check the master list of keys, which I never can remember what it is. There we go. Yeah, that's a different key.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. So, where do you want to head next? Maybe it's time to go to town and sell off some dead weight. Yeah, I guess. So, what do you want to do?
We are carrying quite a bit of junk. Might as well lighten our load back home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, if you insist. I feel like this is the first room we checked out since we got back here, but...
Well, what are your other options? What else? Where else would you want to go?
I know there were numerous other little nooks and crannies that we had planned to do. I think there was maybe one more on this level, but I know there was definitely a couple on the level below that we realized we missed. I mean, I see a thing right here for starters that looks unfinished.
Where?
Right over here, unless I just didn't go around that corner and somebody else did.
I
Yeah,
think
those are
that was
stairs that take you
yeah.
down.
Oh, it's a staircase.
Yep.
Well, if we are going to be continuing in here, I'd propose we take 10 minutes, just enough time to patch up myself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
very well.
Fine by me. Okay, so you take a 10-minute rest.
I'm actually not even sure what I'm carrying around that's so heavy. It's mostly just my staff. That's the heaviest thing I own, and everything else is light. I guess I just have a lot of stuff in these pockets.
Okay, well, after 10 minutes, Ottardo is ready to keep braving the horrors.
I imagine the whole time Lucca's sitting here, like, emptying out the contents of all of his pockets and satchels. He's like, oh, look at this! 20 sling bullets! Why do I even have these?
So what do you want to do?
As a reminder, is this the first underground level, or was there one above?
This is
This is the second.
two levels below ground.
And the
So-
one above, did we completely clear it?
I think we went through the list last time,
I believe we
Um,
did.
but was still like any secret doors that you hadn't encountered yet. I believe I told you about those. And I don't see anything on the level above. No, there are no secret doors left that you.
Okay, well then we can check the third level.
I know there was something about the octopus mist monster area that we
Oh, right.
neglected.
Yes. Yes. Well, let's go that way then.
Oh wait, I see an unopened door over here. Unless it's just a door that I missed.
Over where?
Over here.
All the way in the west of the level. So
Oh, right. Yeah. In front of a little sofa.
Yeah, it's right next to Augrael's room. I believe we even commented how he never bothered to tell us about it. I believe it's full of secrets.
Oh, so the rest of this place is just not full of secrets because.
But these would be Augrael secrets. Sorry, I just wanted to fill in the blank spot on my map. Ignore me. I know that we already went in that room.
So we're just chasing you around.
Wait, why is there a... Oh, it's a guard cache. Okay. We already emptied that, I guess. Yes, this door right here.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, if we are all here and ready.
okay. So hold on before you proceed here. Okay. It's a pretty small room, and an ancient sofa is in here. The covering has been torn open, and its stuffing and springs are revealed, but it sits against the west wall of the room. Okay, you step inside, Ottardo, kind of taking a closer look at everything, and you kind of start feeling like somebody's watching you, maybe something. And the feeling kind of creeps up on you, and then it intensifies over just a few moments, and you kind of turn around slowly because you have this like feel like somebody is just staring at you from behind, and you turn around, and on the wall an eye opens up, an eerie looking red eye on the western wall, and it stares at you. And we'll roll for initiative here.
It's like, oh, I've got to check that out.
Hold on a second. So this is coming up on the western wall.
Oh.
And roll for everyone here. There's somebody in here that doesn't need to be here. Now I have everyone. Okay, I'll roll all of our initiatives. Okay. And Birke, you're technically first. Maybe Ottardo gasps in shock as he sees that eye appear, or maybe you peek around the corner and you see it appear as well. But you're the first one to act.
Can I do a recall knowledge on it?
Yes, that would be a religion. Yeah, I'll prompt you for it.
Okay. And do I get any modifier because I'm a monster hunter?
No, not here.
Okay.
Okay.
18.
18. Yeah, so I mean, being a monster hunter, I think you would realize like this is not a monster. You don't think this is a monster. You think this is more of like an apparition of some kind, like a haunt.
Hmm. So it's just manifesting their
It doesn't
haunting
mean
it.
it's not dangerous or that it can't
Yeah,
affect
but
people.
it's not actively malicious or not like trying to
But
kill us
you can't
unless
tell
we.
right now. Right now, it's just kind of like it just opened up and it's obviously like fixating its gaze. Maybe you could see like the monstrous pupil sort of adapting to the light. You don't know what its intentions are.
Okay, I will advise caution. There's something watching us from beyond, and it's not something of this world. Lucca, perhaps we should leave this room alone.
All right. So you advice to leave it alone. Ottardo, your turn.
Um, can Ottardo do like sense motive to figure out anything?
Like a perception check to sense motive. Sure. Yeah. Go for it. Okay. You get the sense that it is looking for something. Like it's not. You can see that it kind of like glances around. Its eye is like darting back and forth. It seems to be looking for something that it finds interesting, I guess. So maybe if you were to, just kind of stand still or appear uninteresting, maybe you could get away with being ignored.
Uh, okay, he's going to for this round not make any sudden movements.
Okay. Um, you trained in deception.
Uh, no.
You are not. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So you
He,
try to stand still.
he can maybe stand still very intimidatingly.
Okay. Lucca, your turn.
Um, I assume because he's trying not to be interesting, he's not sharing any of this.
Or maybe you can see him freeze up, kind of.
Okay. I mean, I think regardless, Luke is going to start off with a recall knowledge check of his own. Would spirits be applicable?
Yes. Spirit lore. Sounds good.
Spirit lore. I can also, I mean, you normally just have us roll whatever is relevant, right? Like religion and.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
But we're in initiative, though.
Oh, okay.
It's
So I should pick one or the other?
yeah.
Okay. I will roll
Oh,
this.
it's always awkward because it's like, let me think about this with my religion brain. Nice. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I think you get a pretty good sense of what this could be. You also immediately think like this is not a creature. This is some sort of spiritual remnant of some probably painful, torturous thing that may have happened here. Um, hold on. Yeah, so maybe it's the spiritual remnant of a creature that died here, and all that's left of it is this giant eye. You don't think that there's more to it than this eye, even though the eye itself may have, powers. Um, but it just kind of, you have very little to go on here, but it makes you feel like maybe the eye was kind of central to that creature. Maybe that's where its power was. Maybe that's how it made a living. Maybe that was its greatest skill, like something related to that. That's why the eye is the thing that prevailed. And you're thinking the way that it's like looking around, it almost strikes you as if it's trying to like spy or guard or something like that. And you think that indeed trying to appear uninteresting might help to fool it, but it certainly would be hard to do that. But you also think that there might be a way to ward yourself or your companions against it using an appropriate like religious gesture.
Okay. I guess I'll attempt to make that gesture that I think is appropriate.
For yourself, I would assume, right?
Oh, it's only for me? Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I will ward against the evil eye.
Yes.
And make a religion check.
Yep. Should be a prompt in the chat for you.
Yeah. Is this public or?
Yeah, you can do it public. Nice. Okay. Yeah. You think it is ignoring you. You're not so sure about Ottardo. It seems like it's starting to put its attention his way, even though he's trying to stand still. You have one action left.
Do I think that doing something like casting a spell would draw his attention to me?
I mean,
Or
since
not?
you're not trying to appear uninteresting, you warded yourself, so you think
Okay.
you are safe. Yeah.
All right. One action isn't going to give me a whole lot to do. But I will use Diabolic Edict on Ottardo and tell him to ward himself against evil better. Come now, I know a thing or two about the divine, and you must not... You don't just stand there. Here, you have to gesture. Cast Diabolic Edict.
All right. And after you do that, the eye like stops darting around as if it's looking for something, and then it just kind of like stops. And Ottardo, you're standing there, completely still, but it locks in on you. Its gaze falls on you, and you get the following will save.
Is this a fear effect?
It must be. It doesn't say, but it should be. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a fear effect. Nice, you succeed. Okay, so you only take half of that damage, and the reason why I said it has to be is that the damage manifests as like really gut-wrenching fear of being watched. Like the fact that this eye is on you, you're worried. Like, what is its agenda? Who is it? What is it doing? What does it not know about me? What is going to happen to me? Who's going to use that knowledge against me? And that actually manifests in physical pain that ripples all through your body as you take those 8 points of damage. You also, hold on. Okay. You can also take. Wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna have to wait for this a little bit. Souma's turn. Okay. So you do.
I have to say the ambient music and sound is just perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very tense.
Yeah.
Your other two actions, Soma? Okay. All right, but next round. And at the top of the round, something happens. The eye, like maybe there's a glint in it or something like that. But both Ottardo and Lucca, I will need you to make this will save, please.
Hero point.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's there. Rallying anthem.
Yeah, that's what that's called now. Okay. All right. So, Ottardo, you fail. So you are now frightened too, and you treat no one as an ally as long as you remain frightened. And Lucca, you succeed, so you are just frightened one, and you can't shake the feeling like someone or something is watching you for as long as you remain frightened. So you really feel like there's something behind this eye. This is not just an apparition with no agenda. There is some entity that is spying on you. Birke, your turn.
All I'm seeing are my friends be frightened, or like, how does it look for Birke outside the door?
So you also see the eye on the wall, and
Yeah.
you see it kind of like fixing its gaze on Ottardo. It doesn't seem to be like Lucca is maybe holding his hands in a somewhat weird way that makes you understand that he's warding himself against that evil eye. But Ottardo apparently has not had the chance to do that yet. Um, and you might notice that both of them are kind of like their body language. They just as much seem to be wary of each other than they are of the eye. It feels like they're trying to put as much distance between themselves as they are towards the eye, and they're both like clearly shaking
Okay.
in their
So
boots.
could I cover my eyes and then do the action avert gaze?
You can avert gaze. Yep,
And
that's enough.
can I try and cover Ottardo's eyes? So can I reach behind him and like?
Well, you would have to move down, definitely,
Yeah.
because you can't reach around. And then, since he doesn't treat you as an ally, that would basically mean you would have to do some sort of combat maneuver here.
Okay, I'll
But
try that before. Yeah.
okay. Okay, so what does it look like? What are you trying to use?
So I see they're like kind of being stranger, so to say. So it like as an impulsive move, it's almost like a grapple move that instead of wrapping my arms around someone's neck, I'll just wrap my arm around Otardo's face and not pull him back, but try to turn his face away from the eye.
Yes, I know that. So essentially, it's essentially a grapple that you're trying to do.
Hmm.
So let's see how we can rule that. Trying to use my physical books more, just so I get used to the layout. We have grapple. Uh,
I can
Skill
click on grapple.
action. That's athletic space. So you can start by rolling an athletics check, that's for sure. And I'll look up what exactly that means. Okay, and where was that roll?
It's against his fortitude DC.
There you are. Yeah, if you target him, it actually takes that DC into account. But we
Oh,
see that
I should have done that.
his DC is 20. So that's a success. He's grabbed. And I'll say basically the effect of that grab is that you are forcing him to avert gaze. Like that's the effect here. And
Cool.
he can do the escape action on his turn to escape.
All right, and then I avert gaze, and that's my turn.
All right. That's great. Awesome. So then it's Otardo's turn.
Well, I think Ottardo is going to start by trying to replicate the religious sign from
But
Lucca?
he's not your ally, so anything he's told you is potentially just going to make things worse
Mm,
for you, right?
yeah. Okay. Well, uh, in that case, what Ottardo would have done before Birke acted was to maybe like turn around and like face the other way from the eye to sort of show it that I'm not even interested in you.
Okay, so basically that would also come down to avert gaze in that case. But I think what a reasonable reaction would you that you would try to escape Birke's
Okay,
grapple,
yeah.
quote unquote.
Well, that would be athletics.
And that's against the athletics DC of Birke.
Yeah, I think that succeeds.
Yeah, I just want to know if it succeeds or what's that Birke's athletics DC? 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's a regular success. So that means you get free. So you basically have your freedom of movement back. Soma is right. The inspired defense is or I guess is it called inspired defense now, or is it now
No,
called
no,
rally?
they're all instead of inspire, it's all something anthem now.
Okay. So rallying anthem is no longer affecting you while you don't treat anyone as an ally.
Um,
You have 2 actions left.
okay. Uh, so I imagine that the avert gaze that was applied by Birke no longer applies now.
Correct.
So he's going to take one action to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and for his final action, well, he's paranoid about these two, so I think he's going to walk out of the room.
Okay. You're walking past all of these crazy people.
Yep.
That only wish you harm, most likely. Okay. You do not reduce your frightened condition. Make sure that it doesn't do it automatically unless
Ha-
it has to
so
go
I
back
have
up.
to. Yeah.
And then it's Lucca's turn.
I'm still treating people like allies, right?
Yes, you just feel watched.
Okay. So I can move through Birke's space?
Yep.
Oh. Okay, cool. I'm going to leave.
Okay. So you also leave the room. Okay.
Maybe I'll shut the door on my way out.
For good measure, okay. And then we can go ahead to Soma. Anything you want to do? Or should I just end the initiative here? Okay. So with the door shut after some time, Ottardo and Lucca, well, for Lucca, the frightened condition ended anyway, and Ottardo, for after a little bit of time, the fear subsides, and a little bit of sense of like shame and embarrassment sets in as you recognize your friends again as friends and realize what has happened.
We are friends, not food.
Oh, I don't know what that was, but it was not pleasant. Was it, Ottardo?
It's maybe there is something to be learned of the past of this place there, but
I just think whoever put it there definitely did not want people troubling that place. So we either commit ourselves to whatever is in there or accept that we're not supposed to see what's in there.
I don't believe that it was placed there like a trap or anything of the sort. I believe it was a lingering remnant of the soul, a haunt of sorts, and that it is. Well, I don't know why it has taken up residence in a lounge, but whatever it is the remains of some creature which was very
Maybe,
very eyeful in life, very
maybe it's
keen
seeking
on watching.
comfort.
Seeking comfort. No, I'm not sure what sort of comfort a giant red eyeball seeks, but
Well, it's a lounge, perhaps in its previous life, associated that with being comfortable.
it is. I believe that if it is like other similar spirits, it is restless due to the events of its life or death, and can probably be put at ease if we can find some way to soothe it. Seems to be looking for something. But what exactly will satisfy its mindless curiosity, then that I cannot presume at the moment.
Well, maybe we can leave it be for now until we somehow encounter some piece of information.
I could attempt to dispel it, but I honestly don't even remember if the spelling works on haunts.
Well, let us check out the third level.
Well, there's yet another unopened door, is there not? Right here. Unless somebody else
Oh.
opened it.
Well, Ottardo does not remember. Well, he doesn't know what's behind it. So I guess we have not. Oh, this was the place where the squid-like creature was, no?
That's the mist thing, mist octopus monster thing.
Yeah. So I guess this is the one place we were looking for. Uh, Birke?
All right. Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. You open the door and you see a creature that looks like this. He's kind of like standing in the corner of the room, leaning on his pole arm. He has an extremely bored look on his monstrous, devilish face. And he looks at you with his yellow, almost reptilian-looking eyes as you open the door. The walls of this room are decorated with hundreds upon hundreds of tiny little hash marks, as if someone has been counting days for ages. You see in the northwest an iron door with a barred window that sits in the wall, and there's a large but open padlock that's hanging from the door's latch. And the horned creature, with its air of general air of incredible boredom, just sighs as you open the door, and he goes, "Ah, finally, someone. All right, you're under arrest. Put down your weapons. Get to the prison." And he fully seems to expect you to follow his orders.
Ottardo raises his shield.
Hold on there. It seems there's been some sort of misunderstanding. Under what charges are we placed on arrest?
You are intruders into the home of Belcora, the Mightyful, and he kind of drones off a litany of honorifics, but with zero enthusiasm for them. And as such, under the terms of the agreement between the great Belcora, and he goes down the list of honorifics again, and
Oh,
myself, I am placing you under arrest as of right now.
by all the hells,
Under
man.
under whose authority?
Are you really gonna make me say that again?
It's Belcora. He just said it.
Yeah, sorry.
Look. By all the hells, man. What's happened to you? I've never heard a devil describe a contract with less enthusiasm in all of my own life.
And he leans and adjusts his stance, still holding on to his pole arm, and he goes, "Well, it's just that I'm, well," and he seems to be sort of cagey about it. You're welcome to try a diplomacy roll.
Yeah, I'll talk to him in diabolic and be like, "Oh, come on! Clearly, you've had no one to talk to for." He scans around the room. At least 3 days. Diplomacy.
Yeah, and I'll factor in some relevant bonuses for the context. All right. Okay, speaking diabolic. All right, so he goes in diabolic. He pauses for a second and then he says, "Well, you're right. I thought it was a well-crafted and well-worded document, but what I didn't anticipate is that that stupid witch would get herself killed before I complete my services to her, so now she can't release me, and I'm just gonna be stuck here until she pulls herself back up from the hells that she's certainly been banished to, and grants me the mercy of finally leaving this god-awful, dreaded place."
Oh, I see. That's a terrible fate for anyone. But look here now. Surely, oh come on, you're a good devil. You know that a contract is nothing without a few caveats and backdoors. There must be something that lets you off the hook in the event of her demise,
Well, I'm
or
sure
under some other secondary circumstances.
he growls and he says, I'm sure there is. I'm not stupid, but I don't know where the contract is, and I don't remember every single word of it. So there's that."
Well, as it so happens, I happen to have a little bit of experience with diabolic contract law. Perhaps we might be able to acquire your contract, and we can go over it together, word by word, and see if we can't find something that works in your favor for once.
You do? He says, and he's like trying to gauge you, and he goes, "Well, I guess we could consider that forced labor as part of your imprisonment."
Oh, and Ottardo, he's a lawyer, so he's the perfect man for the job. Oh, did you shut the door?
Ottardo shuts the door.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't. I don't think you understand what he's saying, right? Or do you speak diabolic too? So I guess
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
So I guess for you at this moment, it probably looks like Lucca is hitting it off with this devil, and then eventually pointing to you as if like, "Ottardo, here." And you hear your name, but that's pretty much
Lucca like
all.
enthusiastically claps him on the shoulder. It's like, I'm sure he could work it out for you.
And he says, "A lawyer, and human lawyer, cannot deal with the intricate legalese of the lower realms of hell. But if you can find the actual document, I'm sure that my superior intellect will find a loophole for me to slip through. So yes, you are hereby sentenced to find that contract for me. But don't even think about leaving this place before you do. I have eyes and ears, both above and below, and I talk to them regularly. So don't try anything.
Of course, wouldn't think of it. Do you have any idea where this contract of yours is being kept somewhere below?
I don't know. I suspect it's hidden somewhere in the library, but I don't know where.
Is it this, perhaps? This is Lucca pulling through something from his inventory.
And you pull it out, and it just goes like flump, 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 flump.
I have an infernal contract right here. I have no idea where I got it from.
You just got it in that other room that you
Okay,
cleared
I
out,
did.
in the secret scriptorium behind that secret door. So it would make sense that he hadn't found it yet. And his eyes go wide, and he's like, "What? Were you playing with me this whole time?"
No, I just found this. I didn't realize it was yours.
Give it to me now. And he steps forward.
Lucca holds up for a second. He's still got it clutched up in his head. You have to promise to let us go, to let us have free reign of these rooms and chambers above and below, so on and so forth. It'll go on listing every caveat he can think of. Basically saying that he won't do us any harm if we hand over the contract.
And he says, "If this thing finally lets me get out of here, I don't care what you do to this place. Burn it all down for all I care."
Oh, very good then. Well, you can always trust the devil to keep his word. And Lucca will hand over the contract.
And he just rips it from your hands, and he furiously starts going through it. At almost unnatural speed. It looks like his movements are almost exaggeratedly fast. And after, I don't know if you watched this process for a few minutes, maybe. Certainly a sight to behold, like a devil studying a contract. And then eventually he goes, all in diabolic, of course. "Here, right here," he says, and he turns it over, and he walks over to Ottardo, and he puts it right in his face, and he see, puny human lawyer, this is how you construct a contract. I would assume that Ottardo doesn't understand a word, but he's very obviously excited and happy about this. And then he reads it out loud, and it's if after 99 weeks and 99 days passed without a new order from the mistress of the Belcora, all of her honorifics, the aforementioned contractor is free to be released from his services. He says, and with that he just rips it apart. And as he rips the contract apart, he has the contract in front of him, rips it apart. And as the rip goes through that piece of paper, he behind it also kind of starts to fall apart and dissolve as he banishes himself essentially back to hell.
That's the best kind of fight.
Did you just help a devil?
Just lawyered the devil.
I just got rid of a devil.
Ottardo, you just lawyered a devil. Do you know how difficult that sounds?
We could get rid of it, for good. For good.
Using the very word of the law.
What do you mean get rid of it? For the devils are never gone for good. Always come back.
Yeah, no, but it's gonna be somebody else's problem by then.
No, but if we kill it, it's gone.
But now he has no reason to want to return. It's
is that how it works?
liberated.
I thought it just went back to hell as a low-level imp.
Yeah, sure. It will get a new assignment somewhere else. It has no reason to return here. Wait, I can't really be saying that because I didn't understand anything. Right?
Yeah, well, it's gone. It's gone, as you can see, Birke. Look, the point is, Ottardo, hell is full of devils, all right? They're not going to mind another one down there.
Ottardo is visibly disappointed.
Physically disappointed.
Well, maybe there's a motivation to pick up the next language, to not be shut out of a conversation like that again.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't
40
understand what the big deal is. I mean, I saved us all. Why isn't everybody thanking me?
No, I am thanking you. I am thanking you.
Oh, good. Thank you, Birke, for thanking me. I appreciate your
I
thoughtfulness.
appreciate every opportunity we get to not engage in physical violence or metaphysical violence or any kind of violence.
There, what a reasonable mindset.
Yes, but now somebody else gets the opportunity to get into physical violence with this devil.
Well, do you think that'll be
Because
the
the
end of all our confrontations in this godforsaken place? I'm sure beyond that door in front of you, there'll be something nefarious that'll make you bleed and probably threaten our lives.
Look, if they get into trouble with that devil, it will have been their own fault for signing a contract with it. It's not getting out of the hells otherwise.
Ottardo's just mumbling under his breath and shaking his head.
I talked you up as a lawyer. I even offered your services. You could have retained him.
You almost got a new client. So don't want to break up the conversation here, but it's 40 XP for each one of you.
40?
40. 40.
Anything else of note on in this room?
No, the chamber itself, other than the fact that it's covered in these hash marks, it's pretty nondescript. It's just an empty antechamber to the prison cell that you're standing in front of. And as you open that door, you find a small cell, an overturned chamber pot lying in a rectangular patch of fungus that may have once been a mattress. It's kind of in the corner of the room. And there's a skeleton just visible within the fungus.
Does it look edible?
Well, give me a
I'm joking.
nature. Oh, okay.
No, I'm
Skeleton?
joking.
And technically, everything's edible. But
Like Terrapatch said, right? Like all mushrooms are edible, some of them just once.
I mean, if you want to give me a nature check, that's fine.
Yeah, I will. Just because that's the kind of thing that Birke would be interested in. Nature. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're
That's a
not
weird
sure.
kind of underground mushroom. I've never seen anything grow on trees like that.
Yeah. All right.
And you said there's a skeleton there.
There's a skeleton under the fungus.
Yeah, I don't think that's the friendly, edible, or at least semi-harmless kind of fungus. I'm pretty sure it picked that skeleton clean.
You want to take a closer look?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm seeing like a skeleton covered in fungus, and yeah, it looks pretty like getting closer. It's just how to get killed.
Should I set it on fire?
Maybe you can try to see if there's anything magical in there before.
Oh, that's a good idea. Hang on now. Yeah, I'll cast
Take magic.
detect magic.
You do not sense any magic in the room.
Well, it's all of mundane nature.
Well, in that case, we can just leave it be and move on.
Very well. Let us leave it be. probably had something really cool hidden under all that fungus. I'm sure we don't need it.
So where are we headed next?
Good question. Haunt, fungus room, or keep going down?
Well, do we know any way of going around a haunt or blocking a haunt? Can we hold up a mirror or close our
Oh,
eyes?
that's a great idea, actually. Well, yes, I mean there are ways to banish a haunt, or to at least appease it, so that it becomes inactive. It's usually left behind when a spirit of a dead individual or several individuals is still seeking something. Could be vengeance. It could be an object. It could be a place to lie at rest. Uh, could be any number of things. So, what does a giant eye that's looking for things want? What does it want to see? What does it want to find? Perhaps a mirror showing it itself would do something.
Do you have a mirror?
No? Do you?
No.
I don't think we've come across any mirrors in here. Have we?
That I can recall. I mean, maybe there was one mounted to a wall somewhere, but not in my possession.
There's also, I mean, I'm going to give you that because it's hard to keep track of.
Wait a
what
second.
you-
Don't we
But-
also have the lantern that Augrael is carrying around? Doesn't that do something with haunts, or is it only with incorporeal?
The empty light, is it? Lantern of empty light?
Yep.
Yep. On a single living creature, and the other one was upon a single incorporeal creature to hurt it.
Then I guess
Um,
sounds like it doesn't do anything. It's only
nothing-
for
nothing of that
creatures.
sort.
Okay, never mind.
But not to curb that discussion, but I want to point this out to you because it's hard to keep track of which rooms you have and have not seen. And with that, since we don't actually have the blueprint in front of you, I'm just going to give that part to you. There's another room here on this level that you haven't explored that you find on the blueprints, and it branches off that sort of temple room where you destroyed that necrotic flesh effigy.
Oh, and you had mentioned it, I think,
Yeah,
last
you
time.
did mention it.
Yes. And I was considering not pointing it out to you again, but it is a sprawling level, so I understand if you missed that.
Let us ponder the matter of the eye later.
Come on, Birke.
Off we go.
Yeah. So and in this room, I mean, the signs of your previous battle and the I think charred remains of the flesh effigy still here, just the way you left it. Room, the air is sticky and noxious. The smell of decay is heavy in the air. And over here in this corner, that's where you found that entry in, or that's where you see on the blueprints that there should be a door here. And even knowing that there should be one, it takes you quite some time to finally find it and reveal a little section of the wall that slides open and reveals this tiny little nook here. The walls of this little nook have built-in shelves, and there are books that line the shelves to the north and south. But there's also a stack of loose scrolls that sits on the shelf to the west. And there's a single chair and a small writing desk in the middle of the room.
Come, Birke, scrolls, books.
Ooh, fascinating. What did they say?
Well, this is a whole collection of items here, and a few of those stand out to you. Let me make sure that this is actually correct, what I'm about to say, because I think none of them really, they're all actual like books and tomes and many many pages of writing. So none of them are as accessible that you can just quickly like say, oh, this is clearly this. But they also have titles on them, so it's easy enough to identify what it is they generally are. There are, so let's start with one thing which appears to be Belcora's journal. It's probably the largest book in this room, and appears to be written in Aklo, and you'd probably need to spend quite a few hours reading this to learn more about its contents, but it is written what you must assume is her own hand. So an incredible resource. There's also a stack of loose papers and scrolls that are apparently connected to one another, and they're all kind of blueprints of some kind. And you think that it's related to the Gauntlight. All the annotations and stuff are written in Aklo, and it's once again a lot of different documents. There's also like engineering sketches and stuff. So we would also expect this to take a few hours to go through before learning anything from it. Then there is a tome, a folio that as you just kind of thumb through it, you find various esoteric diagrams. And it's sandwiched between several books on teleportation on the north shelf. So you would assume that it has something to do with that. Particularly, like as you go through it, you notice that there is something described herein that's like a ritual to awaken a dormant portal. And finally, the largest book in the entire room, sitting on the southern shelf, is it's a book that is just as you touch it, makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. It is apparently called The Whispering Reeds. Let me show you what it looks like. And it has that by now familiar iconography on its cover. The skull with moss and chains in its jaws. The book appears to be heavily annotated, and it seems to be the same hand as Belcora's journal. But once again, you'd probably need a lot of research to really learn more about this.
That's something we can bring back to Atari and get some eyes and assistance on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a matter of fact, I happen to be versed in Aklo. Mind
But do you want to sit here and read, or do you want to look around? What?
No, I'd like to perch up at a nice, comfortable spot with a good view and take in a few books. But so Lucca's looking over these items. Like maybe we play these ones close to the vest for the time being. Yes, this is fairly troubling stuff. Teleportation. Belcora's own journal. We don't we don't want the average Otarian wandering around whispering gossip about Belcora's very journal has been unearthed from the depths.
Yeah, so feel free to pack up what you can. They're all just sitting there.
Okay, I will take the chorus journal
I assume it would take 10 minutes to thumb through everything and just figure
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
yep, that's fair. Yep.
Well, in that time, Ottardo will take the opportunity to heal himself and refocus.
Mm-hmm.
This Whispering Reeds tome is massive. It's too bulk.
I'll take it. I'll carry it back.
Oh, good. Thank you, Birke.
I
Don't
am
drop.
over encumbered now.
You most likely are. Yeah, you're carrying 15 bulk, which is more than your max bulk.
I'm dropping the chain shirts. Screw the chain shirts.
That would take 2 bulk off, yeah.
Look, leave them on the ground. We can always come back for them later.
How do I?
Or we
take
can
them off?
decide that we are leaving this
Oh.
place for the day.
Actually, hold on, because before you would drop anything, so you have a backpack, and the way that works is the first you can store up to 4 bulk of items in that backpack, and the first 2 bulk don't count against your limit. But it doesn't do that automatically on the sheet. You need to select the item you want to put into the backpack, and then actually assign it to it. So let me see how that works.
Let me see if I can drag it there.
No, I think what you need to do is if you go to the Whispering Reeds and you click
Yeah,
it.
it worked. I put the valuable books and it lowered my.
Oh, nice. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So now you're back to 11
Yeah.
bulk.
Yeah. I can take
I've
the
been-
chain shirt again.
I've been doing that wrong this whole time.
So the Bone Fairy doll says it's bulk L, but it's just a doll. Shouldn't it just be like
Yeah,
smaller?
L doesn't really factor in. It's like I think 3 L things make up 1 bulk or something like that.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
It's 10L is one bulk.
10 L is 1 bulk. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's just something that eventually might be an issue, but it's not like.
Okay. And we should take the Gauntlight blueprint. So I'm chucking that in. And then I'll put it in the.
All right. Okay. I believe that is it on this level in terms of the secret rooms. So what do you want to do?
That is quite a haul of information to sort through.
Mm-hmm.
Would not be unwise to stop and do research, but also we could go deeper.
Soma's vote is for heading back to town.
Yeah, I guess we can.
I can take it or leave it.
Yeah, let's rest a bit and then we can come back here.
Very well.
Back to town it is.
All right. Back to town it is. Let me see.
A brief
And
but productive trip.
I'm sure Vandy will be delighted to have this, as well as what was his name? The one from the bookshop, who I'm good friends with.
Molibid.
Yes.
Okay.
Molibid. Yeah, Molibid will be delighted with what we have in store for him.
Okay. All right. Let me sort my thoughts here. Hold on. All right, so it's afternoon when you head back into town. If I recall, the weather was still rainy. Temperatures not exactly comfortable. And the streets of Otari aren't busy as a consequence. And you escape the downpour as you squeeze into odd stories with your packs overflowing with these books, and you kind of like plop the dripping pack onto the counter where Molabind had just been leaning on, idly thumbing through a romance novel, and he pushes that aside and he says, "Oh my dear goodness, did you find more?" And he goes through the items and he like, first all of the valuable books, um, and he is delighted to find all of those. So you can sell the valuable goods to him, the valuable books to him. I believe. Where is it? There, the cost should probably be on the sheet. Is it?
I don't know. 5 GP for valuable books.
Yeah, that's right. Should be 5
Yeah.
gold per bulk. Yep.
How do I sell it?
Good question. Let me see. I think there's a sell. Oh yeah, right. I see a sell button. You probably
Oh yeah,
don't see.
there's a sell button. Yeah,
Okay.
there is.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to sell Belcora's journal? Do I want to sell Belcora's journal?
I don't think you want to.
Probably not.
No, but this
Not
one,
that.
yes. Valuable books, yes. Okay.
Okay. There you
Valuable
go.
books are.
And
All
the
right.
Whispering Reeds. Make sure you add that to the stash. Because Lucca would like to have a look at it.
Okay, I'm gonna add the Whispering Reeds
Yes,
and the blueprints
Yes.
and Belor's journal.
yeah. Generally speaking, you might want to check if there's anything else that you want to transfer to your stash. I'm talking to everyone. And you might also want to look over the stash if you really need an old chainmail sitting around, or if maybe it's time to sell those things.
We have multiple thieves' tools.
I mean, those things can break theoretically, but I guess in the stash it doesn't make much sense. By the way,
I'm going to sell. Oh, well, I guess I can't sell it. I'm going to get rid of a sling and sling bullets, because I don't think I've ever pulled those out.
Yep. Ottardo will sell the duplicate crafter's eyepiece unless somebody else wants to have it.
I get.
can you sell that yourself, or do I need to do anything?
I can just remove one and add 30 gold to the stash.
Yeah. Okay.
Silver.
Can you add gold?
Nope, nope, that was wrong. It's not gold, it's silver.
Okay, that is done. Oh, we have actually. There's also a +1 studded letter in the stash.
And Birke might want to put either the +1 chain shirt or the +1 breastplate in the stash.
Well, I'm wearing the breastplate.
Yeah. So you might want to, add the chain shirt.
Do we have a need for a whole bunch of ever-burning torches? Because I'm carrying around 3, apparently.
I have three thieves' tools, which
we have sources of magical light. I guess you don't need to carry those.
Should I inventory them or should we sell them off? They are 15 gold pieces each.
Yeah, I think we can sell those.
Alright, so I will sell 2 and get 15 at half price. Add 15 to the stash. Let's see. Does anybody want this lump of decayed flesh strung on a necklace?
Sorry, what?
I have 4 of them. We could be a matching.
Have
We
you
could
been
all have one.
carrying that?
Like a
Is that,
token.
is that where the smell is coming from?
Well,
Are you carrying rotten
are
flesh
they,
around
do
your
they
neck?
smell? I've been having a hard time telling.
Well, probably because you have no nose, but have you been carrying rotten flesh around your neck?
Well, I wasn't wearing them. No, they were the tokens that those ghouls were wearing. I guess they were eating it to heal, and I thought it was something magical, but on further reflection, they're probably just ghouls who heal from eating things that are dead, so...
I think we can get rid of them. I don't think Ottardo would be known as setting a trend in fashion by wearing decaying flesh around your neck.
Lump of decayed flesh strung on a necklace. I'll get rid of it. What about corpse light flesh? Anyone need spongy corpse light flesh? It's...
What?
Lucca, I think we need to have a conversation about what's worth keeping and what's not. I know you miss having flesh around your bones, but you might be trying to overcompensate.
Okay, let's see. Well, most of what I have is just wands at this point, so...
Okay, are any of those ones made out of decaying flesh?
No. I don't have bones, though. I have lots of bones.
I mean, to be fair, you might need spares.
I do. I have a bag of bones. I use them whenever I need to heal by mundane means. I have Otari's bones I've been carrying around.
And we
Bones
did come
make
across
sense.
many piles of bones.
I
Wait,
do have a set of
you
what are
like-
described as exotic bones, and then I have another set of what are described as warped bones.
Yep.
Could anybody use some exotic bones?
No, but I think we should go to the Dawnflower Library and take the bones to the Cherry Graveyard.
What? Why?
Because they're Otari's bones. Do you want to keep them for yourself?
They said I could have them.
Yeah, I'm sure, but what for? Maybe Vandy would
Well, I
appreciate
don't
having that.
know, but maybe I'll find a use for them. And then if I've handed them off to the Dawnflower, they're not going to want us digging them back up now, are they?
Yes, but maybe putting Otari's bones to rest in the Otari graveyard in the town of Otari might just be the kind of gesture that brings us some kind of positive influence towards all the.
Oh, what if there's a ritual?
Perhaps it's a ritual. Would you like it if there's a ritual?
No, I'm saying, what if there's a ritual I need to perform? And I can't do it because I don't have the bones.
You have plenty other bones.
They're not Otari's bones. Fine, Birke. Could take them to the Dawnflower if you really think. I don't think it's going to change anyone's view. Those Saren rights there, all set in their ways, but
Oh, you've talked to Vandy Vanderdash. You know she's not like the rest.
as a matter of fact, I haven't really.
Oh, you haven't actually. Well,
No.
I invite you to.
We make eyes at each other every time we're in the general vicinity. She doesn't actually know that I'm undead, but I think she suspects.
Well, perhaps it's time to come clean.
Very well. If you want the bones returned to Otari Cemetery, Birke, then I shall hand over the bones to be interred there. Because it is what you want. Not because
Will
of
you
some...
accompany me?
Oh, fine.
Okay. So you want to do that right this afternoon?
We could do it in a moment if other people have things to do.
Well, if you are planning on going by the library, I would probably would like to ask Bandy to transfer some of that magic runes onto my armor?
See, we all have a reason to go there.
Okay, so let's see. Transfer runes. How did that work again?
I think it's a tenth of the price of the rune, so I just have to look that up.
Transferring
Armor
runes, and it's
potency.
in the GM core. So let me look that up. 225.
I guess, isn't there a +1 potency rune around somewhere that could be spared to put on my staff?
We do have two weapons, two magical weapons, a
Yes.
short, three ones actually, a short bow and two katars.
Well, would anyone mind if I had? Actually, that Qatar looks quite valuable. Oh, it's 70 gold pieces because there's two of them, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take. Does anyone mind if I stripped the magic from this Qatar to add it to my staff?
Well,
Not
there's
at
three of
all.
them.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So it does take 1 day to transfer a rune.
Yeah, that's what we've usually had. We leave the stuff with her and come
Okay,
back
so
the
you're
next.
not. I was just making sure you're not expecting to be able to pick it
Mm.
right back up.
No, it's fine.
Sure. So yeah, 10%. The DC of the crafting check is determined by the item level of the rune being transferred, and the price of the transfer is 10% of the rune's price. I guess you would even have to pay that if you're trying to do it yourself. So that's just the raw cost. But I'm going to say that your relationship with Vandy and the Dawnflower Library is good enough that she's just going to do this for you at cost. So yeah, 10% of the rune's price. So what rune were you interested in?
Uh, well, either of the armor runes, but I don't know who would be interested in grabbing either the +1 studded leather or the +1 chain shirt. Is Soma okay for armor? And Simon, could you check what type of armor Augrael uses
Yes.
usually?
Oh, that's a good point. Augrael is wearing a +1 studded leather armor. And I'm
Oh,
just gonna take I'm taking the leather armor he's wearing and putting that on the stash because I don't think he really needs to have that on him.
okay. Well, I guess we can take off the +1 off of the studded leather armor.
Yep, sounds good. So that's an armor potency rune +1. There's this 160 GP, so 10% is 16 GP. And just for simplicity, let's just pay that up front. And then by tomorrow at around the same time, so tomorrow afternoon, you can pick it back up.
Mm-hmm.
And what armor are you going to transfer it to?
The full plate that he's wearing.
Okay, so what are you going to wear in the meantime?
He will grab. Would the mail or the shirt be better? I think the mail is better. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So he's going to change out. How do I do this? Okay, there.
All right. Anything else that we want to do other than the interment, funeral, whatever we want to call it? Okay. So you stop by the Downfloor Library. Vendi, of course, always as excited to see you as she usually is. And she takes in your full plate Ottardo and the studded leather and promises to get to have somebody work on that as fast as possible. And then she heads out and up to the Otari graveyard with the remains of Otari himself. Or let's see. Actually, when you suggest that to her, Birke, I think what she's going to do is she's going to say, absolutely, yeah, that is absolutely the right thing to do. But you know what? I don't think we should do this on just another rainy moon day. without proper involvement of our community. I think what people really need right now is to be reminded of the history of Otari, and that Otari is resilient, and that there are forces that protect us, both physical and among us, and she's kind of like gesturing to you, but also beyond the veil and in our shared uh, history. And I
Of
think we
course,
should.
Andy, I agree completely. We can't just inter these bones in the rain as just some common criminal. This is a moment of significance, and the whole town must be involved.
Yes,
I-
if you're going to waste perfectly good bones, you might as well make a big show of it.
that is one way of saying that. Yes,
Not
I will.
wasting, Lucca.
But I'm glad that we agree, and I will talk to the mayor, and I think for now what we should do is we should find one of our most um, light flooded side chapels, and we should put these bones to rest there for a while and put them on display for and spread the word in town so that our community members can make a little pilgrimage out here and behold the bones of Otari. I think that will do a lot of good, and I
This
think
is part of the entire history.
indeed it is, and I thank you personally, Birke, for being so mindful of this. And in fact, I'm gonna give all of you 30 XP
Oh,
for making sure that the remains of Utari are properly treated. Anything else you want to do today? I mean, we're now coming up on evening time.
yes, I just want to make sure before we leave the Dawnflower Library, since Lucca's so rarely in here, he's going to say, since you're so grateful and all, I suppose you won't mind increasing the potency of this, he says as he stuffs a staff of necromancy in their face.
And she's, what? What's this? And she like
Uh,
immediately by all the iconography and
Vandy,
all of the
give me
general.
one moment. Lucca, sideline,
What?
sidebar.
I thought you said she'd be accepted.
Yes, well, she will be much more willing to accept doing necromancy, rune incantations, if you come clean, if she knows what she's doing this for.
She already has a hard enough time with this, and she's going to have an easier time if she knows it's a skeleton doing it.
Well, do you think that perhaps you revealing yourself to her won't make it more acceptable and less questionable for her?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't.
I believe your actions speak stronger than whatever you called those pile of bones of yours.
Not sure if I should be offended by that statement, but
You probably should, but
very well.
because I'm not trying to be kind about this, but up to you. Still,
Bandy, I know we don't really know each other because I've been studiously keeping far away from this place. But we're both good friends of Birke, and she believes that it would do a world of good for me to show you this. And he just unceremoniously flips up his mask.
And you can see like Vendy's smile like freezing and then melting off her face. And she says, "Oh, so there were rumors in town. And I have to say some of them were suspecting something even worse, but I I I'm I'm confused. How how Wh-
Yes, how does this make this better? I don't know. You'll have to ask Birke that.
I and she's confused and she looks up um at the window, like that's when the sun is shining, it would catch the sunlight in the morning, and it would fill the entire library with like bright golden rays of sunshine, but with the rain outside just washing against it, now it's kind of like gray and the colors are all muted. And she looks up and you can hear her mumble a prayer.
So you
And she's
see,
like,
Vandry,
"Hmm?
all this necromancy things, it's not for some nefarious purpose. That's just what we need to do to go into the Gauntlight Keep. There's no evil in here.
Birke, I want to believe you. I do, but there are lines that you should not cross, even if it is with good intentions, because there might not be any turning back. And I'm sorry, but I will
Oh,
have
there
to.
is no turning back. Have you seen him? He's just bones. Would you ask him to put flesh on them?
It's not just bones, Birke. It is it is an it is a crime against creation to create something like him. It him. I don't even know what to. I'm I'm sorry. And then she speaks up so that the Lucca can hear her too, and she says, I'm I appreciate your honesty and your trust. I do, but I for I have to contemplate this. I will have to pray and ask the Everlight for her advice on what I'm sorry. And she just kind of like hands the staff of necromancy to Birke, and she turns to leave and she says, I'm sorry, but this is too much right now. And she just kind of walks off. And the whole situation, I mean, you've seen Vendi so far. She's always cheerful, she's always chipper. And seeing her kind of like be overwhelmed with this in that way is definitely uh, a new side of her.
I'm sorry, Lucca. That did not go as I expected.
No, it went just about exactly how I expected. Well, actually, not. To be honest, I thought there would be lots of burning beams of light and incinerating of bones and such. So actually, that went off rather well. Uh, uh, but I appreciate your effort to try, Birke. These
Well,
bridges are not so easily crossed by everyone.
well, I'm convinced she'll come around, and if she doesn't, well, her loss. Because what can we do but do what we do, right? Venture forth.
I suppose so. Um, I'll tell you what I can do. I can find someone else in town to enchant the staff of necromancy for me.
All
Is there
right,
someone else
so
in town that can enchant it?
Morlibent might be able to do that. Well, he's a level 4 wizard, so I don't think he has anything to offer that Lucca wouldn't
Might
be
be
able to do it.
busy with all the reading material we just gave him as well.
Well, you think you might be leveling up with that?
I thought he might be like, "Don't bother me. I got reading stuff to do."
Oh, yeah, he's definitely busy for
Yeah,
sure.
like I'm nerding out. Shut up. Come
He's
back in
got
a
to
few
be at least.
weeks.
He's got to be
I
level
got
6
books.
by now.
Yeah, he's made his hot cocoa. He's in his PJs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ready to read. No, I guess the best bet if you can't get Vanny to come around, your best bet would probably be to have it sent to Absalom.
That's going to take days.
What exactly what exactly is it that you want to do with that
I just
staff?
want to put a +1 potency rune on it.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Well, you can't. Oh, because you can treat it like a weapon, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a quarter. Well, it's a whatever it's called as well. Quarter
Yeah,
staff.
yeah. Yeah. I guess then Vanny is definitely the one person in town that you would assume can do that. I mean, it is a small little town.
Oh,
Not a whole lot of
fine.
magical weaponsmithing around.
I guess I'll take it to Absalom on my own time then.
Okay. Anything else you want to do tonight?
Souma, Ottardo.
Nothing in particular.
All right. So I'm gonna skip ahead a day.
There is just real quick. I don't want to take up too much time because I know that Lucca's been talking a lot this session, but at some point, Lucca would like to catch Ottardo and just say, Ottardo, I sense that you do not appreciate the way that I handled the whole devil situation. In the future, what path would you prefer to take? Does it all need to be blood and smiting?
Preferably, yes.
Well, I mean, I think if you find that if you put away your sword, devils can actually be quite reasonable many times.
The thing is that the royal house of Thrun thought that a few centuries ago, and now Cheliax is what it is.
Yes, well, obviously, if you don't handle the contracts well, it can get away from you.
Well, the devils tend to be better at contracts than most humans. So, in my point of view, it's better to dispatch them.
I see. Rather even than to just let them flee the material plane. You would rather see them smoten, whatever, on the ground.
Yes, because then they wouldn't have the opportunity to go and entrap someone else in their schemes.
Yes, right. We wouldn't want that. Very well. I do believe that the cohesion of our little unit here is of great paramount importance. So going forward, I shall be more violent towards our enemies, since that seems to be what you want.
Well, the devils in particular, like if it's a person, of course we can
Yes,
just
no, very reasonable. I'll go right to the killing. Don't you worry about it. Very, very, very noble of you, Sir Ottardo, to encourage this course of action. But if that's what you want.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right. For the next morning, did you? I would assume that you made arrangements to meet up again. I assume you want to head out again to the Gauntlight. Is that what's going on?
Back into the
I
fray,
don't know if we're heading out or if the book nerds are going to take time to check out the new books.
I think it's gonna. You said it would take some days or hours, like for
Hours
more
for sure.
brink. And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Luca's definitely interested in the journal and the whispering reads in particular.
Okay. Yep. Understandable. So, you want to?
I mean, you could take the day to check them out since we're waiting on
And we have this blueprints or the Gauntlet blueprints that we should definitely study.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll give us a sense of direction where we need to go.
Okay. So where do you want to? Are you going to work independently in various places, or are you all going to meet and kind of like hole up somewhere?
I'd hang out with more Brint if he'll wouldn't mind me sitting there and sharing tea.
At the odd stories. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. How about the others?
Ottardo will offer his office to anybody who would like to, lock himself up and study in peace.
Okay.
Lucca might take him up on that.
All right. Okay. So just so I get that right. So Lucca is going to study which book at?
If somebody else is taking something, I mean, I guess his number one thing is the whispering reads. He doesn't know what that is, but he doesn't like the symbol on the front.
Yeah. Okay. So you're studying the whispering reads in Ottardo's office, and Birke, you're studying Balcora's journal at Odd Stories. Is that right? Or was it the blueprints? Okay.
I suggested someone study the blueprints. but Belcora's journal is what interests Birke the most.
Okay. Soma will study the blueprints. Is that what you said? The journal. Well, I don't think that two people can work on the same book, really. So
You're
yeah,
reading too fast. Go back.
yeah, exactly. Two people could reasonably work on the blueprints because there's a loose stack of various items, but unless you're willing to like chop up the journal into chapters or something, you would have to find a way to collaborate on that.
Ottardo will offer any if any of these books requires like some side religious research, he can offer to take care of that.
Well, it mostly needs knowledge of Aklo because all of this stuff is written in Aklo.
Well, that is the language that he just picked up.
Mm-hmm. The scrolls I've mentioned, I believe those are the stack of loose papers and scrolls that are the Gauntlight blueprints. And they're also written in Aklo.
And folios on teleportation.
That's right. There's the folio, which is not really saying what language it's in. So I would just assume that it's also Aklo. Okay. All right. So basically, the way so where is Soma gonna work though? Just so I have a mental image. Okay, so Soma and Lucca hole up in Ottardo's office. Ottardo, I would assume, is like basically playing host, checking in on Birke at some point, who's in at Odd Stories, working on the journal. But Birke, do you have any ways of reading Aklo?
Not really. So I would just be assisting Morbrint. Like maybe he'd be like, "Fetch me this one book," or like, "What does this say in this other one?" And doing all the cross-referencing and
Right. Well, let's
all
see.
the understudy work.
Let's see if he is knowledgeable. He does know Aklo. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think I have an idea. Okay, so you can all rest because we had a full night of rest, and then in the morning you all kind of spread out into those places to do your research. And we'll get to that in a minute, but after like an hour or so, um, or maybe as in the late morning, um, Ottardo just maybe left his office to go and check on Birke. You run into the mayor, who seems to be like, looking around, and then as he walks in or runs into you, he's like, "Oh, Ottardo, oh, good, it's good to see you. Do you have any idea where?" And he's visibly concerned. Any idea where I can find Soma by any chance? I really need to find Soma.
Uh-oh.
Well, she is probably working in my office right now. Is there anything wrong?
Um, um, uh, I don't know. I hope not. I don't know who else to talk to. It's my daughter. It's Doriana. She's not sleeping. She wakes up at night and just screaming and she looks like death, and I don't know. I don't know if Soma can even help her, but she seemed to be building a relationship with her. So I thought I have to give it a shot. Do you mind if I just go and get her?
I'll go and fetch her, and we'll come to your place. That
Oh,
is where she is.
yeah, yes. She's at the manor. Great. I much appreciate it. I know you're busy and all, and I'm sure it's nothing, but it's thank you. And he rushes off.
Okay, well, Tartu is going to turn around and deliver the news to Soma.
Okay. the Manheim's Manor. So you put a bookmark in the folio, and the two of you leaving Lucca to his studies, and you make your way basically out of town and up Miller's Road, and then Highside Road to the manor. You knock on the door, you're welcomed in, you're quietly ushered to Doriana's room, to her bedroom, where she sits on her bed, and she's clutching like a little toy, a stuffed griffin, and she's kind of like staring into the mid-distance, and her mother and father are in the room with her, sitting next to her on the bed, um, their hand resting on their on her feet, which she doesn't seem to notice. And as you enter, the mayor looks up and he says, "Oh, thank you for coming so quickly. I said it's just I don't know if you would mind just taking a look at her." And you can tell even without examining her, she's looking pretty pale and kind of spaced out in a way. And the mayor says, "Honey, so I brought Souma. Like I said, Souma brought her friend, Sir Ottardo, and they might take a look at you now, okay?" And Doriana just kind of keeps on staring, and then after a weirdly long time, she responds, "Yeah, sure." Uh, and she once again just kind of takes a long time to respond. You even feel like she might not respond at all before she finally says, "Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. The motley man protects me. He'll save me. He always does."
The who?
The motley man.
Does he speak to you?
I don't remember. You know how I'd only remember that I was afraid. But then he was there in this patchwork robe of his, and then everything was better. And you examine her as she tells that story and like very haltingly speaks about it. And you can tell that she's gaunt and pale, and she kind of looks like she has some severe, like you would have expected a fever maybe, but you find no evidence of anything but good physical health. Yeah, so you think that she's physically just fine. And the mayor says, "So, what can you tell us? Is it bad?" and she turns to you and she looks at you, but she kind of looks through you, and she says, "That's so kind, but don't worry. The motley man will save me. He'll protect me."
Can we make some sort of uh, recall knowledge check to see
Sure.
if Motley
Yeah.
Man sounds familiar?
Yeah. Occultism, history, society, anything that you think might be useful.
Society, yeah.
You have not heard of of a motley man, of a of a folk tale where that would come up. So it must be something that maybe she heard multiple stories and then kind of made up her own hero in a sense. And Soma, yeah, you as well. There's no entity, no story, no hero from the past that you would know under this name. Okay, I think. Thank you, Doriana. Thank you for letting them take a look at you. Um, and then the mayor gets up and he kind of ushers you out of her room, closes the doors behind you, and then he says, "You're you. There is there something you're not telling me? Tell me what's wrong."
Well, I don't think we know exactly what's wrong. We'll do some research, and you can keep an eye on her in the meantime. But
Some research. What do you mean research? Is she sick or not?
Ottardo's going to look to Soma and look back to the mayor and just say, unfortunately, we just don't know.
How can you not know? And he gets visibly like frustrated by that, and maybe he's just pointing his frustration in the wrong direction. But he says, "It's there's clearly something going on. I mean, have you seen her? She's pale as a sheet." I'm sorry, sorry. Uh, Obviously, you're not to blame. You're just doing your best to help. Okay, do your research. Yes, and then he starts walking you out. And he says, I'm sure that you'll. Let's hope that you find what you're looking for, and just let us know if you find anything, and the help will let you out. And then he kind of turns around and goes back into his daughter's room. And the help lets you out.
Uh, and then I guess Ottardo will go and let Birke know of what happened.
Okay. Yeah. At this point, I guess we're probably around lunch hours as you enter Odd Stories, where Birke is actually at the counter, kind of running the store, and let's see. Um, and eventually, you're hearing everything. Oh, okay, I see. Okay. Yeah. So when Ottardo comes in there, Birke's at the counter and explains that Orlabind is the one who understands Aklo, so he's retreated into the back of the building to go through the documents, and um, that seems like he's making good progress. Anything else you wanted to do here while you're here, or should we just kind of skip ahead to when all of you are wrapping up your day of research?
Well, there's nothing for Ottardo. Well, since he's free, maybe he can go to the library and relay what's happening with Doriana to Vandy. Ask if they heard anything about that, or if they know if she has a history of illness or anything.
Okay. So, right. Well, Vandy listens to your story and listens with concern and nods along, and but eventually she says something like, it's a difficult age. She's that she's in, and there's so much going on in town. I'm sure there are so many fears that must run through a child's head in these times. I I wonder if this motley man that she's describing is actually you mentioned like a patchwork pattern of his clothing, of his robe, which makes me think that maybe she's putting something together. Maybe he's something of an amalgamation of maybe even all of you. He's the savior that saves her and protects her. Maybe I'm not. That doesn't sound too worrisome to me from how you describe it.
But
Other than the fact that she seems so.
protect her from what? I mean, is she in, she doesn't sound like she's in danger.
I don't know. Did she describe her dreams to you?
She said that she forgets.
Hmm. So all she remembers is that motley man and the fear that she felt, and that he took that fear away for her.
Hmm?
I don't. Certainly sounds mysterious, but ultimately, what's the harm? Anyway, I do have something else I wanted to talk to you about. Since Birke is not here, I guess I can share this with you too. I've spent most of the morning in prayer and in soul searching, and also went through scripture again and again to find a way to come to terms with Lucca's revelation yesterday. And well, us Sarenites, we do detest the creation of undead. I guess the Thawflower does not teach to hate every creature that can't help its own nature. It's actually the opposite is true. We encourage and we seek redemption for those who have done wrong. From all I can see, unless you feel differently about that, Lucca has gone to great lengths to do good in this world, or do better than his origins might suggest.
And I can attest that he has helped us uh, dispatch many evil creatures.
He has. That's good. Good. She takes a deep breath and she says, I've decided that I am willing to give him a chance. It is what the Everlight teaches. Always offer another hand. And I think we should do as we preach. And then you can see like she's gathering conviction and nods enthusiastically, and she says, yes, Lucca needs our help. He needs the dawn flower. He needs to see the light. I think the best way to make him see that is to show him what it means to be truly compassionate and helpful and honest. So yes, if he needs me to transfer this rune for him, I'm willing to do it.
Well, thank you. That'll be a great help for us all.
And she like wordlessly nods. You can tell that she knows that that's the way to do it, but there's still some reservations, and it's hard for her to do that. Okay. Right. Since you're here, I think by if you stop by in the afternoon, by that time your full plate would also be now ready with the +1 rune. I think that was the only thing that she was working on. Yep. Okay.
All right.
So then let's skip ahead and talk about some of the results of your research.
Just a quick question: Did you deduct the 16 gold from the stash, or should I do
No.
it now?
No, you
Okay.
should do that.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. Where are we with the documents? Here we are. All right. Where do we start? Okay, let's start with Soma. After you get back to Otari's office and you continue to your research in that teleportation folio. So what you learn is that this folio is actually, it's not just about teleportation in general. It's very specifically about various teleportation circles that have been built into various places of the Gauntlight Keep, and it even mentions further levels further down. However, and maybe you even remember that you've already found some of those teleportation circles, but they seemed to be inert, right? Um, and within the pages of this book, however, you find a ritual to awaken these portals. And that is something that you can learn, or that you can use from the pages of this book. You attempt to reactivate a dormant gate, portal, or teleportation circle by infusing it with magical blah 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 blah. Yep. Okay. So in the case of these teleportation circles that are built into the rooms, you actually need to awaken both sides of whatever teleportation connection there is, because those circles are built with a particular destination keyed to them, and you would have to conduct that ritual on both sides if both of them have fallen dormant. It's completely possible that there is only one side that needs to be awakened, but generally speaking, both of them need to be awakened for them to work. And I think in the description of the portal, you can see that there's also degrees of success here. So there's that. All right. Then we have the blueprints of the Gauntlight. So let's see. Yeah, you learn a great deal. Sorting them and reading them takes 8 hours. Yeah, so you can learn about functions as if you fully researched. Okay. So this is quite a find because I mean, there's always been stories and theories around Gauntlight, but this really gives you solid proof as to what the Gauntlight actually is. Because it is much more than just a 115-foot tall lighthouse that rises from the fog fen. As you've seen when it teleported those monstrosities right into the heart of Otari. And you read a great deal. I think I can just share this with you. Let me see if this works that I just changed. Hold on, I want to make sure that I don't share too much with you. So I'm just going to say you get to be the observer here. And then show. Okay, I hope this works. There should be something showing up on your screen now about the Gauntlight.
Yeah.
But only about the Gauntlight, right? There's no other entries on the left?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, so let me tell you about the Gauntlight. The pale stone walls extend far below the ruins, passing through 8 dungeon levels, and finally terminating at the 9th level below the surface, where its deep foundation centers on an ominous chamber where long ago Nimbleoth herself once physically brushed against this world. Apparently, Belcora used this spot as a source of power to infuse the walls, floors, and ceiling of each of Gauntlight's levels with eldritch power. So there's a lens at the apex of the lighthouse that would have in time been able to focus this lingering eldritch energy into a powerful beam, but her plans were cut short by the Rose Guard before she could replace the mundane lenses with dangerous magical ones. So as an artifact, Gauntlight can't be damaged by normal means. Its walls are impenetrable and impervious to any attempt to breach them by anybody except followers of Nimbleoth. They block effects that allow temporary passage, such as pass water will create a barrier against dimensional travel, and so on and so forth. So one important thing is that if Belcora's ghost is permanently destroyed, Gauntlight loses all of its magical properties and collapses in on itself all the way down to its base, which would leave an incredibly deep pit in the fog fen. To activate Gauntlight, a creature must be in the deepest portion of the artifact, which is called the Empty Vault. From anywhere within the Empty Vault, a creature can observe the world outside remotely through Gauntlight's lens and its cupola, including any area Gauntlight's beam can reach. And then there's something called the Fulcrum lenses. In its current state of diminished functionality, it can be activated only in the 2 ways below by swapping in a series of 4 magical lighthouse lenses called Fulcrum lenses. Again, significantly greater power, including the ability to reach all the way to Absalom and to activate its effects every minute.
Wow.
And these effects that you see here, I believe you've already witnessed them. So you've seen that in action as well. Yeah, so that's a lot, I think, that you get out of this. That there's actually like something deep below that is not of Belcora's making, but that is like a source of some sort of eldritch power going back to when some, divine entity brushed against this world, and just from this one touch point, so much power leaks that it gives the Gauntlight its magical abilities. And I guess it also manages to impress the threat that this is. Should Belcora be able to complete what she started all of those many years ago. Okay, then we have Belcora's journal. And let me see, there is a bit of background that I want to tell you. There's no good handout for this, apparently. Hold on a second. There we are. Okay. Okay, so you learn a great deal. And I wonder if I can share this with you. I'm going to have to read that before the next session to make sure that it's spoiler free, or that it's not including information that you're not supposed to learn at this stage, but I can give you a glimpse of what you're learning. So, yes, so Morlibend goes through this. It takes him quite some time. but he keeps copious notes in common, and then you can get the gist of this journal. So first of all, you learn that Belcora's full name is Belcora Harrovex. Let me put that in writing here, Harrovex. And the Harrovex family is, or its family tree apparently goes back a long time. Um, they have, Belcora makes mention of various strong magical influences on their family tree. Apparently, there have been multiple sorcerers in her ancestry, all of them having the aberrant um, bloodline. The Harrovexes have married within the family for generations to strengthen this lineage, and the most powerful Harrovexes lived in Absalom 500 years ago. And um, so Belcora had always been told every day for as long as she could remember that she was kind of like the epitome of all of these aspirations. And as a matter of fact, the powerful Harrovexes back in Absalom, they even made secret um, obeisance. Is that a right? Is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the so they I guess they paid worship to the outer gods for great wealth and even greater power. And they were all kind of like focusing their efforts to create their most promising scion, which would be Belcora herself. And she'd always been told it's her. She is the harbinger of Nimbaloth herself. She is the family's greatest hope for power and prosperity. She was groomed for that from birth, essentially. She also mentions various abhorrent rites that her family have conducted in their worship, including bloody sacrifices, and then how eventually the authorities of Absalom caught wind of their crimes. And the Harrovexes were driven from the Isle of Kortos in 4219, and they were forced to leave their estates and luxuries behind. Belcora was only 6 years old at the time, but she remembers how her home was taken from her, and she just over time that manifested in this intense hatred that she has for Absalom and everyone in it, because she feels like they robbed her of what was rightfully hers and her family's. Most of the exiled Harrovexes died in poverty, so she mentions that she is the only one remaining. At 17, uh, Belcora apparently received some visions from Nimbaloth that led her back to the Isle of Kortos to plan her revenge. And they led her to this subterranean shrine to Nimbaloth that she calls the Empty Vault. Um, and that's where she erects this magical lighthouse. She dug deep beneath to reach the shrine that she had seen in her visions, and she documents much of her work in this journal of building the abomination vaults, as she calls it herself. The journal doesn't offer very many specific details, but it does mention the construction of so-called flesh warping laboratories, of arenas where she pitted enemies against monstrous champions just for her amusement. Also mentions prisons and torture chambers. All of those, I guess, you have seen already, but it also mentions links to the Darklands and that great temple where once the empty death herself brushed against this fragile world. Belcora's entries often speak of her minions in the abstract, as if bragging about how many have come to serve her in creating the complex, but she only ever mentions one by name, which is her quote unquote amusingly vain apprentice, Volok Azrene. And one of the last entries describes how this apprentice arrived from quote unquote a community of upstart and meddlesome drow below to serve Belcora. The notes don't provide any further information about that drow community, though. So there's that.
We've not seen any drow, have we?
Well, given that
We did find a picture, right?
you did indeed, and also, now come to think of it, that spirit in the scriptorium, you thought she was elvish, and she only had these this spiritual apparition that is void of all colors, but her skin looked kind of dark. You were assuming it was just a dark-skinned elf, but could have been a drow. Okay, and then finally the Whispering Reeds. The Whispering Reeds, as Lucca already pointed out, is a hefty tome, and studying it is somewhat confusing because it is almost painful to read it. And there's a great deal of like a preamble and of like commentary essentially of the remainders of this tome. So there's a bunch of stuff that you learn about the tome, which apparently scholars of the Whispering Reeds have added over time. So that's how I'm going to explain how you learn about the following details. So this tome has been compiled by an anonymous author who tried to collect all parables and myths and stories and encounters with the outer goddess called Nimbeloth. And that happened centuries ago. And according to the introduction, the author's original intent was to create a work that foes of the Empty Death could use to fight against her influence. But as you continue to read through the book, it becomes pretty apparent that the opposite effect has been achieved. That by compiling these stories, the author actually inadvertently generated a work that made it easier for Nimbeloth to influence the world. So those who venerate the Empty Death seek copies of this book to use as a guide and religious text, while those who don't know better and peruse the book as though it were merely an anthology of stories find themselves unwittingly falling prey to Nimbeloth's cult or agents of the entity herself. Those who study from the Whispering Reeds for too long are often cursed to rise as ghosts after death, though their existence never lasts for long as they are inevitably consumed by Nimbeloth. The anonymous compiler wanted to produce an enormous print run of the Whispering Reeds, but after the initial run they realized the danger and scuttled those plans, instead attempting to destroy those copies already created. This crusade caught the attention of Nimbeloth's cult, who swiftly assassinated the compiler. Fewer than 24 copies of this rare tome are believed to still exist. The book's sinister nature causes all attempts to transcribe it to fail, resulting in bodies of gibberish and nonsense text. The Whispering Reeds provide several abilities, but you can't activate any of them while you are stupefied unless you are a follower of Nimbeloth. And then we have these various things here. And it's important to point out that there are potential repercussions for using this tome in these ways, because again, the tome itself has essentially become a vector for Nimbeloth to exact influence on this world and on anyone who uses it. So you want to be careful to actually use these abilities, but they are available to you. So you see, you can use this to get a bonus on recall knowledge. You can use it to target a single incorporeal undead creature to cause damage to it. You can... what is that? You invoke a tale from the Whispering Reeds that paralyzes the situation, environment, or creatures nearby. Eerie mists and indistinct whispers rise around you in classes of 7, perfectly spaced, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so you can hurt up to 3 creatures with mental damage. And then finally, you can cast straight up spells. Wave of Despair, Fear, Paranoia, or Phantasmal Killer up to 3 times per day. And you should have all of that in the description of the actual item if you click on it. But as I've said, there are repercussions that are not listed in this description, so you want to tread lightly. And I believe that was everything that you had found in there, and I think that makes a good time to put an end to it. You've learned a great deal about the Gauntlight. You learned a great deal about what is lurking deep down below, and you've gotten your hand on something that might constitute a weapon, or it might be a live grenade that you're playing with. Either way, it appears to be a powerful object. And we'll see where that takes us next time.
And just as a quick note, as Ottardo is going to rejoin with everybody in the afternoon, he'll let know Lucas that he can actually go and talk to Bandy.
Oh, well, excellent. Thank you. What did you say to her?
Well, I think she mostly spoke to herself.
Ah, yes, that is what those types do, isn't it?
Well, she does talk a lot, and if there's no one around, then she will, talk to the statues.
Yes, well, part of me is still convinced it's a trap of some sort. She only means to lure me down there to pry whatever remains of my soul from the skeletal form. But,
Well, isn't that what will happen to all of us eventually?
well, yes, but I don't think any of us would prefer to hasten it on.
Oh, no, and I'll put in a good word. We'll delay it as much as possible.
Yes. But if she will enchant my staff of necromancy for me, then that would be all worth the risk, I should say.
All right.
Besides, we'll break her in on a little +1 potency, and then maybe we'll see about maybe she can upgrade it to a greater staff of necromancy. We'll just work up a little bit, little
Yeah.
tiny bits pieces.
Give her time.
And I think it's worthwhile to point out that necromancy is not inherently evil or anathema to Saren Knight's.
Yeah.
It just gets a bad reputation.
Yeah,
but it's very environmentally conscious.
that's true. And also, I think that heal is now necromancy. So it's really nothing inherently bad about necromancy. It's about how you use it.
Well, technically, since you switched to the remaster, I don't think necromancy is a thing anymore.
That is true. But I feel
That's
like
an old term. We don't use that anymore.
The N word.
I know that it's not a thing for rules terms, basically, but I feel like people would
Yeah.
still feel the need of grouping magic, right? Of having a way to talk about magic other than just primal and occult, and so I feel like those terms would probably still be around.
Yeah, I'm really confused by the deletion of the different magic schools. Like I don't know. I'm not sure what the purpose was in doing that and what it improved.
I think that one was just a copyright issue with D&D, because that was actually something that D&D made and wasn't
Necromancy?
The schools of magic.
the whole 8 schools. It was
Okay, yeah.
it was a D&D invention and not copied or inspired from something else before. So that was just a safety thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that means it's the system basically, right? It's saying that there are 8 of them and the way that they interact
Yeah.
and all of that